Hi, I'm Dex Gelfand. What I want to explain to you now is what I call the ultimate, essential, universal, stubbornly held protective or defensive attitude from which all others spring. Now, to begin with, what I'm calling a stubbornly held protective or defensive attitude is something we all have in droves, in bushels. We've got plenty of these. Okay. In psychology, there's a term defense mechanism. This would fall under that category, but we're going to get a lot more specific. Okay. Basically, a stubbornly held protective or defensive attitude is a way of saying, I'm not allowing this. I'm not going there. I'm not connecting, engaging with this or that, and some sort of justification for that very often within that. And like I said, we'll have plenty of these. And the truth is that any programming that we accept or install of how we're going to behave, how we're going to feel about certain things, we are or aren't going to do. Any internal programming is ultimately going to accomplish exactly what it's intended to prevent. Ultimately, it is going to prevent exactly what it is intended to accomplish. Why? Because it overwhelms your presence. It's a substitute for being here and now and present with life and what's happening right now. When you are fully present, everything is easy to experience and resolve when you're fully present. But as soon as you start substituting, and that's what you do, you're substituting an attitude or a way of being for actually being fully present in what you encounter and experience. It's a strong liability that we all have to find our ways out of. I do have the very workable technique for taking these apart. But now I want to talk about what I call the ultimate, universal, essential, stubbornly held, protective or defensive attitude. And it's this. See, basically all bad feelings, all misbehaviors, bad attitudes, taking on a sort of a false self or personality or persona, it all derives from fear of something. All bad behavior, bad attitudes are based in fear. Anger is an attempt to suppress fear. That's what it is. The more somebody rages, the more underneath that, the more they feel there's something they're unable to experience, they're afraid of experiencing. That's the mechanics of anger. Okay? Now, what is the ultimate fear? Well, it's this. See, existence actually is love. Love is existence. And the more you recognize you are loved and can love, the more present you are, the more your existence extends, the more you're present. So the ultimate fear, and again, this is universal. We all experience this. It's all within us. The ultimate fear is a fear of being abandoned, left alone, unloved, unaccepted, betrayed, just completely unaccepted, alone, abandoned, unloved. That is the ultimate fear. It is the root of all other fears. It can all be traced to that all the time. So the ultimate, universal, essential, stubbornly held protective attitude, which, as I'm explaining, is a way to try and prevent something one is fearful of. The ultimate one, and we all have this in us in some form, many forms, is just this. In order to prevent being unloved, unaccepted, and abandoned, I'm not going to allow people to get that much into me, to be that close in the first place, so that I can't be hurt. That's it right there. It could be expressed in a million similar ways, but it's just that. The ultimate, essential, universal, stubbornly held, protective, defensive attitude is, I'm not going to give someone the chance to hurt me in the first place. I'm going to distance them or distance myself. I'm not going to let anybody all the way in so that I can't be hurt and abandoned. Now, I explained earlier, any such internal programming ultimately accomplishes exactly what it's intended to prevent. And this does, obviously, because if I'm not going to let anybody really connect with me, really be that intimate, well, then also, therefore, I'm not allowing love to occur. I'm not allowing that strong a connection. So that's how it actually creates the condition it's intended to prevent us from. In order not to feel unloved, I'm not going to let people love me or feel that much love from another person so that they can't hurt me later. You see the contradiction? Of course, then, you can never fully accept being loved, and you can never fully love as long as that stubbornly held, protective, defensive attitude is in place. In order not to be hurt, I'm not going to let love all the way in. That's the ultimate thing we all need to, step by step, incrementally, in layers, as it presents itself, to really notice, feel, allow, and process. Take it apart and unravel those attitudes. And I see this in everyone, which is not to say that I'm exempt. I'm not saying that I am. But that right there is it. The more aware we are of this, the more willing we are to digest and process this, the more we can transcend this and experience full existence, which is love. So I'm just going to close by repeating the primary thought, which again is the ultimate, essential, universal, stubbornly held, protective, defensive attitude is, I'm going to prevent myself from being hurt and unaccepted and abandoned by not allowing anybody to be that deeply connected and intimately associated with me in the first place, thereby creating a situation where you actually don't get to fully have, experience, and give love. It's as silly an idea as there could be, as all stubbornly held, protective, and defensive attitudes are, but that right there is the root. We are silly beings